Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with another episode of Snowflake Corner where we cover various stories from outside the UK. This is episode 38 of the Snowflake Corner. The date and time is the 6th of August 2024 at 7 p.m. UK time. We are, again, for some reason, not live streaming on twitch.tv. I don't know why. I just quickly checked, so if someone could just double check for me, I'm pretty sure it's not live again. I don't know what the issue is, so it looks like I'm not going to be streaming on Twitch for the rest of this week, given the things, which is very frustrating for me. But we have quite a bit to cover tonight, guys. If we have time, we'll do Ukraine and the deep state map. I do have that up as well, but we're going to focus a little bit today, a little bit at the start on the new vice presidential candidate for Kamala Harris that's just been put through. Terry Regan, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. And Madman, good to see you there as well. Terry was at the obviously at the obviously he's obviously from Plymouth last night. Obviously there were a few troublemakers, shall we say, there. Luckily, him and most people who were there, nobody luckily didn't get any serious injuries and all that stuff. So I'm just glad that you and everybody down there at Plymouth is all right. We will obviously cover more of the violence that's taking place in the UK tomorrow. I can assure you guys of that. I just want to address quickly as well before I start as well about this morning's post. So for those who aren't aware, this morning I put out a video. It was already a members video, so I didn't have too many comments or whatnot or worries about it beforehand. And it was an article from The Independent on Tommy Robinson. And initially, when it first went out, there was just a few comments here and there with this. And there's nothing wrong with people disagreeing with me. There's no problem people saying, "Oh, you should go and watch a certain video" or whatnot. Those comments were fine. Those the ones who are supporters of Tommy Robinson and just saying they disagree or whatnot. Those the comments were fine. What wasn't all right was the sheer amount of death threats that I got in my inbox. I had a huge amount. I've had death threats before, guys, but I never had as many as I did before, and it was very uncomfortable. And given that my face is pretty much on everything on these videos, it's very hard for me to kind of not take that seriously. So in my best interest, I've decided to take the video down and just, it's not worth the views, it's not worth the controversy, it's not worth the comments. Initially I disabled the comments, but I decided to go a step further and remove the video. It wasn't worth the hassle over it, guys. I don't like doing that. I understand people are strong supporters of Tommy Robinson. I get that. Some people like his views and whatnot, but I wasn't I'm giving my views on my side of the story, and you don't have to agree with it. But you want to make death threats, it's sad. I could have just gone and just kept deleting comments and kicking people and banning them, but it just wasn't worth it for me, guys. So I have been, apart from the last few hours looking up news for the live stream tonight, I haven't been paying much attention to news and politics today, for those wondering. But let's move on from that, guys. So I want to show you, before we dive into the articles, I want to show you a bit about Tim Walz, who is going to be Kamala Harris's running partner for the White House. And I do hope that her and Walz do get on, beat Trump and JD Vance. And I wanted to share you guys some clips about him. So the best way to kind of know somebody is kind of to see some footage out there of him, rather than just simply nothing. Because I don't know a lot about him, but I've pulled some clips together here, and let's have a little listen here. Just gonna remind people, just also want to point this out there for people as well. This live stream is not monetized, so I don't make any money off any ad revenue, just for the reference as well. But this is one of many videos I'm going to play about Tim Walz, for those who don't know. So I hope you guys find this interesting.
Speaking it into existence, Governor Walz for vice president.
These are weird people on the other side. They want to take books away. They want to be in your exam room. I've got a 23-year-old who told me TikTok is on fire. Go ahead and continue to denigrate people. Go ahead, My God, they went after cat people. Good luck with that. Turn on the internet and see what cat people do when you go after them.
Don't fuck with cats.
It'd be funny if it wasn't so sad. They see the least fortunate among us as scapegoats and punchlines for them. Kamala Harris and Democrats see them as our neighbor. You know, get sugarcoating this. These are weird ideas. Listen to them speak. Listen how they talk about things. Told them that they shouldn't talk about race. They can't help it. It is built into their DNA because there is no plan. There's no healthcare plan. There's no healthcare plan. There's nothing to do on this. They want to take away our alliances and leave Russia to do whatever they want. The minute they...
I really hate the music in the background. This is great stuff. I just wish the other person had not put this blimmin' stupid music in the background. But I love all this stuff. This is great. This is great stuff from him. I really do. Jeannie Ball, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well.
They all step on the stage the American people have lost. Are they going to debate who can ban the most books? The same old failed policies. Instead of putting out a memo like that, tell us what your health care plan is. Donald Trump told us he would do that on day one back in 2017. There's nothing there.
But you've legalized recreational marijuana, you passed universal background checks on guns, you expanded LGBTQ protections, you implemented tuition-free college for low-income Minnesotans. There's free breakfast and lunch for school kids.
What a monster. Kids are eating and having full bellies so they can go learn. And women are making their own health care decisions. And we're a top 5 business state, and we also rank in the top 3 of happiness. To think that any
rank the governor top 3. This guy put food on the plate here for kids in Minnesota. This governor, he put food on the plates for them. That speaks a lot of volumes just in itself there, guys.
way this is normal. You got a former president that thinks calling names and spreading lies is the way to get people. They're continuing to shrink the electorate on their side. Their ceiling and their floor are the same, and I don't think it's going anywhere. So I'm just excited. What I know is that people like J.D. Vance know nothing about small town America. My town had 400 people in it. 24 kids in my graduating class, 12 were cousins, and he gets it all wrong. It's not about hate. It's not about collapsing in. The golden rule there is mind your own damn business. Donald Trump talked about infrastructure. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris built bridges, built roads. So, look, they are bad on foreign policy. They are bad on the environment. They certainly have no health care plan, and they keep talking about the middle class that, as I said, a robber baron real estate guy and a venture capitalist trying to tell us they understand who we are. They don't know who we are. That angst that J.D. Vance talks about in Hillbilly Elegy, none of my hillbilly cousins went to Yale, and none of them went on to be venture capitalists or whatever. The situation in Gaza is intolerable, and I think trying to find a solution, a lasting 2-state solution, certainly the president's move towards humanitarian aid and asking us to get to a ceasefire, that's what they're asking to be heard, and that's what they should be doing.
Yeah. Pretty cool stuff from there. I just wish they didn't play that stupid music in the background, if I'm honest. This is another one here, guys. Just a few things about Tim Walz, the possible future Vice President of the United States. Born in Nebraska, married with 2 children, commanded Sergeant Major in the Army National Guard for 24 years, high school teacher and football coach, a 6-term U.S. representative here, just to give some more context to Tim Walz, for those who don't know him.
During Korean War, and the day after I turned 17, he took me down to an Army National Guard recruiter, and I raised my hand and signed up.
That was the beginning of 24 years in the military. And whether he was fighting floods or supporting missions overseas, Walz relished his experience as a citizen soldier.
The privilege of being in a democracy and self-governing comes with incredible privileges and opportunities, but one of the responsibilities is to try and give back, and that was at least one small piece where I could do my part in that, and for that I'm just grateful I had that chance.
His memory of those who have passed serving our country inspires and drives his dedication to support those individuals and families who are serving now.
When you thank a service member for their service, thank the spouse and thank the children, because those are folks, and again, no matter how long you're deployed, you can be certain it's going to be an anniversary, it's going to be first steps of a baby, it's going to be first words, it's going to be graduations, first communions. There's a lot of those life things that these folks step aside so that we can go to those things in peace and security.
This is very good stuff from him. Jao, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Billy Cushaw, good to see you there. I'm a lot better than I was this morning, thank you. I already made a statement at the start of the stream with regards to it. So some again, I really like this guy. Like here he is. I'm going to turn it quite low because the kids start screaming. So here he is, the Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, signing a new law guaranteeing all students receive a free breakfast and lunch no matter their household income.
It is now law.
That's a very good, powerful image right there. Yeah, I know some of that made you guys jump. This one, I'm actually going to leave that one there. Which one is it? And here he is. I'll show you this one at the top here. So after Tim Walz signed a new law guaranteeing breakfast and lunch for every kid in Minnesota, he went and served food at the cafeteria as well. So there he is, serving at the cafeteria for the kids as well. I just wanted to share that image of him there, doing his bits there, which I think is really, really cool. And obviously, they were just asking the kids, do they know who he is? And like then they didn't know that it was the actual governor of Minnesota. So I'm going to play this last one here before we read an article from the New York Times here. This is an awesome clip where Tim Walz explains the win against MAGA. These guys are just weird, but we're not afraid of weird people. We're a little bit creeped out, but we're not afraid.
These guys are just weird. That's who they are. So it isn't much else. Don't give them the power. Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes. Are they going to take our rights away? Yes. Are they going to put people's lives in danger? Yes. Are they going to endanger the planet by not dealing with climate change? Yes. They're going to do all that. But don't lift these guys up like they're sometimes the heroes. Everybody in this room knows, I know it as a teacher, a bully has no self-confidence. A bully has no strength. They have nothing. The fascists depend on fear. The fascists depend on us going back. But we're not afraid of weird people. We're a little bit creeped out, but we're not afraid. But look, and then as you heard this, and one day ago, a poll came out and showed Kamala Harris up 10 points and Donald Trump getting his ass handed to him here in Minnesota. So, sorry. But he's here today in the state of hockey to complete his trifecta. He lost in 16, he lost in 20, he loses in 24.
He seems like a pretty top guy. For someone that I don't really know from what clips and things that I've seen, he comes across like somebody that definitely will. I think also there's a couple of reasons why I think they picked him as well. We're going to read a bit more before I give my full thoughts on Tim Walz, because I was kind of hoping for Pete Buttigieg. When we were looking at the candidates, the lineups yesterday. I was kind of hoping for Pete Buttigieg, but given what I've learned so far of Tim Walz, I really do like him, and I'm starting to understand more and more why that they've picked him. So this piece here is from the New York Times. So Tim Walz is Kamala Harris' choice for vice president. The Minnesota governor, a former high school teacher and National Guard member, brings the ticket to Midwestern appeal in a plain-spoken way of taking on Donald Trump. This is a very good way of winning over, especially a lot of Republicans who are a lot of those in the Midwest who are very doubtful or unsure about Kamala Harris. This was also a tactical choice by the Democrats as well. So, Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic nominee for the president, has chosen Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota as her running mate, elevating a former football coach whose rural roots, a liberal policy, and buzzy takeover of former President Donald J. Trump have recently put him on the map. Mr. Walz, who's 60 years old, emerges from a field of candidates who had better name reconciliation and more politically adventurous home states. Minnesota is not a top-tier presidential background and is unlikely to prove critical in the Harris-Walz victory. But he jumped to the top of Miss Harris' list in a matter of days, helped by cable news appearances in which he declared that Republicans were weird and that the nuclear articulation of why voters should reject Mr. Trump caught on fast and turned the spotlight on plain-spoken Midwesterners behind it. One of the things that stood out to me about him is how his convictions on fighting for middle-class families run deep, Miss Harris said in a social media post confirming his selection. It's personal. Miss Walz will appear with Miss Harris at a rally on Tuesday evening, that's later on tonight, in Philadelphia, their first appearance as the Democratic ticket. Mr. Walz leapfrogged better-known contenders in part because Miss Harris viewed him as an everyman figure from Minnesota whose Midwestern dad vibe balanced out her Bay Area background. And according to 3 people familiar with the vice president's thinking, yeah, that's one of the reasons, yeah, why they've gone for this person, gone for him as well. With his straight talking style, Mr. Walz was thought to be someone who could match up well in a debate against Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio, who Mr. Trump chose last month as his running in May. And after 2 weeks of vetting and deliberation, Miss Harris connected best with Mr. Walz in comparison with other choices. Over and over in the selection process, the loyalty has been emphasized as one of the most important criterions for Harris. It suggests that Mr. Walz has convinced her that he would support her not only in winning but also helping in governing. In her social media post, Miss Harris highlighted Mr. Walz's biography as a National Guardsman and his time as a high school teacher, the football coach and advisor of the Gay Straight Alliance. So that tells you exactly what side of the fence he is on there. He is a family man as well, so that's another thing as well for people who point out, oh, Kamala Harris doesn't have kids. Well, her VP does. You know. She also pointed out his efforts to govern to work with Republicans on bipartisan measures while pushing progressive priorities. Mr. Walz, in his second term as governor, spent 12 years in Congress, where he was a rare Midwestern Democrat representing a large rural district. He served for 24 years in the Army's National Guard and taught his high school social students in Ming before entering politics. While his background was tailor-made for moderate voters, his policies as a governor had been firmly liberal, reflecting what his allies call propria populism. He signed into law a Democratic wish list of bills on marijuana, paid family leave, abortion rights, and gun control, something Miss Harris highlighted in her announcement of him as the pick. Republicans call him a left-winger in homespin clothing. In Governor Walz, Democrats get the full left's full policy agenda from someone who looks like they've just climbed down with his deer stand, said Tim Prowley, the last Republican to serve as Minnesota's governor. Republicans quickly signaled that they plan to attack Mr. Walz, in particular over the violence and unrest in Minneapolis that unfolded in the murder of George Floyd in 2020. That will be a good attack line for them to use. Harris Walz, the most left-wing ticket in American history. Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida posted on social media on Tuesday morning, Walz stand by and let Minnesota's burn. Walz is going to mop the floor with Vance. Oh, I want to see that debate. I want to see that debate in full. Walz is the best choice as Jeannie Harris. Now Harris can dance to the White House. But Mr. Walz's complex political identity was part of what appealed to Mr. Harris, who came up through liberal San Francisco policies and prioritized in her search as a running mate the appearance of ideological balance that might help her win swing voters. Every one of Mr. Harris's finalized for the job, including Mr. Walz, was a white man who had some record of winning in Republican areas, and this was really important. I mean, I know we don't want to be the I think first and foremost, I thought it had to be a white man, simply to counter. I know it's stupid to say this, guys, but let's be real. There are some Americans out there who will not vote for a female president and will not vote for a female black president. And I think that, and the white man as a VP does help mitigate that a little bit. I know it's a stupid thing to say, but there are some Americans out there who feel that way. I know it's dumb, but they should not be judged on their color or their sex. But unfortunately, there are some Americans who will judge them simply on their color and their sex rather than their credentials. So I do think on that part, I think it's the first thing. And I'll come to the rest once we get to the end of this, guys. So the list included Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania, who was better known as more polished, hailing from a critical background state. Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona, the former astronaut who became an impressive resume and a deep knowledge of border issues in his swing state and might have proved beneficial in blunting some Republican attacks. But Mr. Walz, in providing a simple, coherent message about Mr. Trump in the Republican Party as Democrat, was still processing Mr. Biden's exit and Mr. Harris's elevation, transforming himself in just 2 weeks from a little-known governor to someone who by January could be next in line for the presidency. Mr. Shapiro confirmed in a social media post after the news broke about Mr. Walz's selection that he would be at the Philadelphia rally on Tuesday evening, throwing his support behind the ticket and promising to work to unite Pennsylvania behind the friends Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to defeat Donald Trump. Mr. Walz was born and raised in rural Nebraska. As a young man, moved to Maquoketa, where he was taught high school social studies and coached a school football team to the state championship. He retired from the National Army Guard in 2005, where he began his first run for public office. Mr. Walz's political origin story is to appear ripped from a Hollywood movie script. In August 2004, he chaperoned some of his students to a campaign rally in Mankato for President George W. Bush's, according to Mr. Walz. The group was turned away because of one of the students had a sticker on his wallet for Mr. Bush's opponents, John F. Kennedy, the Democratic senator from Massachusetts. Oh, that wasn't helpful. Mr. Walz was furious and went the next day to volunteer for the Kerry campaign. By the end of the year, Mr. Kerry had lost, but Mr. Walz was determined to run for office himself. In 2006, with a campaign staffed large by former students, Mr. Walz won an upset victory in a rural congressional seat that had been held by Republicans for 12 years. He served 6 terms in Congress before he won his first election as governor in 2018. His House seat had been represented by a Republican ever since. One of my favorite things is when I'm in Minnesota and someone will come up and say to me, I had Coach Walz for geography, or he changed my life and his classroom was a safe space for me as a queer student, said Minnesota's Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, who was a volunteer for Mr. Walz's 2006 congressional race. That is how he runs his campaigns. In Congress, Mr. Walz was considered a moderate Democrat who served on the House Agriculture, Veterans Affairs and Armed Services Committee. He had an A rating from the National Rifle Association for years. But when he ran for governor in 2018 after the mass shooting in Parkland, I don't know what FLA means, sorry guys, he renounced the group's support and called for an assault weapons ban. Mr. Walz said he was influenced by an appeal from his daughter and has since turned the decision into an applause line. I'll take my kick in the butt for the NRA, he has said. I spent 25 years in the army and I hunt. In 2022, riding the wave of Democratic anger over the Supreme Court's decision to end the congressional rights to an abortion, Mr. Walz helped usher in full Democratic control of Minnesota's legislature for the first time since 2014. Mr. Walz and state Democrats flexed their power, and in 2023, he signed legislation codifying abortion rights into state law, legalizing marijuana, enacting new gun control laws, and providing free lunch to all public school students, creating a pay leave program, and provide undocumented immigrants access to Minnesota's driving licenses. He's done all this. That's very good stuff. That's really good stuff. And by the end of the year, he took over as chair of the Democratic Governors Association, a perch that can afford him access to party donors from across the country. Mr. Trump's most recent visit to Minnesota, a state last carried by a Republican presidential candidate in 1972, Mr. Walz was asked to deliver preemptive counterattacks. His description of the former president and his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio, "These guys are just weird," ricocheted online. Almost overnight, the weird label was adopted by Democrats across the country, including Mrs. Harris. Yeah, that stuck like glue whenever they were called, "These guys are just weird." It was a brilliant line, absolute brilliant line. So based on all this, what do I think of Tim Walz? I think, that it sounds really good stuff. Definitely someone that can that is a bit of an opposite to Kamala Harris with his background and his history, and I think it can win some appeals of some Republicans who aren't keen perhaps to back Kamala Harris. And they have somebody that can a bit more relate. Maybe they can relate more to. I think so. In that regard, I think it's a great choice based on what I've read and heard so far, guys. As for the other candidates, I'm not saying that the other candidates couldn't have been suitable. I thought it would have been Pete Buttigieg, but I think they've gone with Tim from, as I said, from a tactical point of view. Then I think he would be the best person to give them the best chance that they possibly can of defeating Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. And I don't think, and let's be very clear here, just because the since Kamala has stepped in, since Joe Biden has stepped down, the wave has been high, the voters have been high, and they don't want to lose that momentum. They want to keep that momentum going. And the pick of Tim Walz as vice president, obviously, once again, will highlight the Harris campaign, the Harris group, the Democrat side, whereas Trump and JD Vance will just keep regurgitating a lot of the same things over and over again. So it keeps the spotlight away from Trump and JD Vance for a bit longer, a little bit longer. Now, as someone, as I think it was Jeannie Bottle pointed out in the chat, Tim Walz versus JD Vance is going to be a very interesting debate. I'm assuming they're definitely going to have a debate. I don't think JD Vance is gonna chicken out, but maybe he will. But we do know at some point. I mean, Trump is not saying no to a debate with Kamala Harris, but we don't know when that's going to be. I think he was saying he wanted it on Fox News as well because he just wants that. He just wants that assurances behind him, sort of thing. But yeah, what do you guys honestly think of Tim Walz based on what you guys have heard so far? I'll definitely do a community poll to get people's opinions on him as well. Vance actually looks like an old Western movie villain, says Jow. Yeah, he definitely does. Good evening, Daily Blase. Hope you're doing well. Looking forward to Thursday, my friend. Number 3, to seeing you there, just pop in. Hope you're doing well. Given the choice, a donkey would be better in office than Trump. Less crap from donkey and will work. That's true. That's very, very true. Who would not say these guys are weird, looking at Trump and Vance? Yeah, but you saw the line of the way he said it in that clip I played. It was brilliant. It was really, really good. Trump sounds like a strange disease contacted at odd circumstances. Jeannie Bot says Harris Walz sounds like a TikTok dancing trending, while Trump does the rump pump and jump lawsuits. Well, they could definitely get some TikTok clips out there. The two of them, that's for sure. His way of talking reminds me a lot of my dad, direct and clear. That's another thing as well. And he's older. He's got lots of experience. You know, he's 60 years old. He's got experience, but he's not like brain dead like Biden and Trump are in terms of age. Like, they're seniors. He's a senior. He's had experience. He's got background. So that helps as well. Whereas some people think that Kamala's maybe as well. So that helps as well. I think as well in it. So we'll definitely keep an eye out more on that, guys. So we're going to move away from the American, America. Just a reminder, guys, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. Be greatly appreciated. Share it across social media if you haven't already. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. It really does help support the channel. I'd like to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, if possible. We are just less than 4 months away from the end of the year. So if we can get there, that would be awesome. Right. Gaza, and this is one that's definitely going to get you mad. So this is from Middle Eastern Eye on the War in Gaza. Smotrich said it's justified and immoral to let Palestinians die of hunger. The far-right minister supports blocking aid to besieged enclave, but adds Israel lacks international legitimacy to do so. What a fucking cunt. Just got to call him what he is. He's trying to justify the deaths of Palestinians. I'm sorry, I don't like just going flat out like that. But seriously, like, how can you? There is no justifiability for allowing Palestinians to starve. There's no moral compass in any of this. There's no side. There's no art convincing. You will not convince people outside of your bubbles, yeah, that there is some kind of justifiability of allowing Palestinians to starve. You're just not going to convince me. You're just not. Like, this is just ridiculous. It's just absolutely disgusting comments. Really, really is. So Israeli Minister Benjamin Smotrich has said letting 2 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip die of hunger might be justified and moral. Speaking at a conference hosted by the Israeli Hadlum outlet on Monday, he expressed support for blocking aid to the Gaza Strip, but said Israel lacked international legitimacy to do so. Yeah, because maybe it's because you want to let them starve and die. I don't know. Why do you think, your international reputation is getting dragged in the mud? Hello? We are bringing in aid because there is no choice, the far-right minister said, according to the Times of Israel. We can't, in the current global reality, manage a war. Nobody will let us cause 2 million civilians to die of hunger, even though it might be justified and moral, until our hostages are returned, he added. No, I don't... Listen, let me be as frank as I possibly can here, okay? Yeah? Of course, everyone wants the hostages released. But that does not justify genociding an entire population to get those hostages out. There is no justifiability whatsoever for this. None. You cannot justify an entire population for a few hostages. There is no justifiability whatsoever in this. None. He said that Israel needed international legitimacy for this war. And you don't have any. Your actions speak for themselves. Your words literally speak for themselves about how you're treating all this. For nearly 10 months, the Israeli military has imposed a tight siege on the Gaza Strip, extremely limiting the flow of life-saving essential foods and medical items. Aid delivery is scarce, unprotected and restricted. In June, independent UN investigations said Israel was using starvation on the Palestinian population as a weapon of war. Yeah, they are. We know they are. The hunger crisis led to the death of dozens of people due to malnutrition, mostly children. Yeah. Stephen Banker, good to see you, buddy. A high risk of famine persists across the Gaza Strip as almost the entire population faces high levels of acute food insecurity or worse, including 500,000 suffering starvation, the UN-backed Integrated Food Security Phase Classification IPC said in June. Smotrich is one of many Israeli ministers and officials who have made statements described as genocidal against Gaza's Palestinians since the 7th of October. Yeah, and I've played them on the Snowflake Watch. I've played those clips on the Snowflake Watch. On the 9th of October, Israeli Defense Minister gov't said Israel was fighting human animals as he announced a complete siege on Gaza. You can call Hamas that, but calling this, you need to separate Palestinians and Hamas here. There will be no electricity, food or water. Everything is closed, Galligan said. Other ministers and officials have advocated using a nuclear bomb on Gaza, turning the enclave into a slaughterhouse and erasing the Gaza Strip from the face of the earth. South Africa said these statements are evidence of genocidal intent, and its ongoing case at the International Court of Justice accused Israel of genocide in Gaza. Israel denies the accusation of genocide. Yeah, even though that literally ministers have said about erasing the Gaza Strip from the face of the earth. But that's apparently not genocide, guys. That's not genocide to erase Gaza from the face of the earth. Apparently that's not genocide, guys. So what will you define as genocide then? In March 2023, he said the Palestinian village of Hawana near Nablus needs to be wiped out. Again, like, where is the lie? How does this not sound like a genocidal language? You know, calling for an entire population, an entire strip to be nuked. Like, how are these not genocidal comments? Absolutely disgusting comments. Absolutely vile man, guys. He really, really is. There's like no thinking, no fault whatsoever for other people. It's like saying concentration camps were justified and moral. No, says MadMonk33. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. You know, those on the extreme far right, if it was up to them, you know, I'm glad you brought that up, because if it was up to some of the really extreme far rights in certain countries, even our own, if it was up to them, they would round up all people of different colour and put them in concentration camps. They would. That's how extreme those mindsets are. He's stoking up further trouble. It's happening now, and it does not look good, says Genie Bottle. Yeah. Well, we know that things could really kick off at any moment between Lebanon and Israel. I read that a report that Israel did another strike today in Lebanon and other places today. I am ashamed to say Galligan is a Portuguese origin Jew. Galligan again speaking like a true Gruppenführer. Yeah. He's deliberately trying to not justify, not moral, says Terry Regan. Yeah, absolutely. No worries, Billy. Thanks for popping in. Much appreciated. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know what more to say. I've already said what I think he is anyway, guys. I think we need to de-escalate the tension here on the Snowflake corner with a funny video. I've got a very good one for you guys. This one was actually really hilarious to break the ice, and then we'll come back with a couple more stories. And if we have time, we should cover also the war in Ukraine as well. So I hope you guys enjoy this one. It's another foil in arms one. I know you like your foil in arms, guys, with the headline called "The Wordplay Bar."
Hi, is this the Wordplay Bar?
Sure is. You been served?
No.
Are you Jerry Gorman?
Yes. Hey.
You've just been served.
Ah, whiskey.
On the rocks?
It sure is. She wants a divorce.
You want a mixer?
No thanks. I don't think I'm ready to meet new people just yet.
Straight?
Yes, but I could be bi-curious given the right circumstances.
One shot of whiskey.
Great. Just what the doctor ordered.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's incredibly irresponsible.
Isn't it? I'm thinking of changing doctors. Because
yeah.
You mind if I smoke?
No problem.
Thanks. I did ask.
We'll open a tab.
Sure, but don't forget to close unused ones. It can really slow down your browser.
How do you want to pay for your drink?
Probably with a hangover and down the line liver disease.
Steve, you collect some glasses for me?
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Could I get a drink?
Sure thing. What's your poison? Cyanide, arsenic, ricin, strychnine, or proper 12?
Do you have anything on draft?
Just these plans for my kitchen extension.
I'll get a gin and tonic. Hold the fruit. And let it go.
Do you mind if I talk?
That's why I'm here.
Thanks. I feel like if I get divorced, that's it. It all ends. You know? No more cuddles on the couch. Nobody to hold you on a cold winter's night. Nobody to confide in. No more sneaking around to her sister's house when she's out at a work thing. It just isn't gonna work.
Yeah, I know what you mean, buddy.
You know, everything reminds me of her.
Tell me about it.
Oh, it's a comedy drama starring Joaquin Phoenix. It's about a guy whose marriage collapses. In many ways, it reminds me of my wife.
Okay, where do you want me to put these?
Oh, Stephen. Just put them over there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I better get out of here.
Whoa, no, I can't let you drive.
Why not?
You smash all the windows. Time, gentlemen, please!
It's 9:42.
Thank you. That's 2 hours, 18 minutes to close!
Specific.
Doomed up!
That was a brilliant one. Oh, that was too good. I really like that one. I listened to about halfway through and I was like, yeah, I'm dead. I like this one. I hope you guys enjoyed that one because I sure did. That was funny. Oh, that was very good. Very, very good one from them. This is Surreal, says number 3. Yes. Suzanne, good to see you lurking. Hope you're doing well, buddy. So obviously there's been as far as I'm aware, I haven't seen any updates going on in Venezuela. But one thing that has been turned upside down is what's happening in Bangladesh. And unfortunately, I missed this story yesterday when I was doing my shorts. But Bangladesh's parliament dissolved as protesters back Nobel Yunus to lead the country. So Bangladesh's president dissolved parliament today, paving the way for the formation of an interim government a day after the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned and fled the country following weeks of demonstrations and violent unrest. Student protest leaders called for Nobel laureate and microfinance pioneer Mohammed Yunus, 84, to lead the temporary government. So yeah, there's been violent protests going on for quite a while. So it was only yesterday that he basically resigned and fled. And that was before I could. And that was before that was after I'd already done my short videos, which was a bit on this, which is a bit annoying. But still, the pressure from the people of Bangladesh has pulled through, and they wanted something. They wanted something different. They want someone new, and yeah, I just hope that that they have that they can have a government, and I'm assuming they're going to be new elections and whatnot, and I just hope it's for the benefit of the people of Bangladesh. So let's read a bit more into this, you guys. So, Bangladesh's president dissolved parliament on Tuesday, clearing the way for new elections to replace the long-time prime minister, who resigned and fled the country following weeks of demonstrations against her rule that descended into violent unrest. The streets of Dhaka appeared calmer on Tuesday, with no reports of new violence, as jubilant protesters thronged the ousted leader resistance. Some poised for selfies with soldiers guarding the building where a day earlier angry protesters had looted furniture, paintings, flower pots and chickens. Why would you steal the chickens? Leave the chickens alone. They had nothing to do with it. As the country waited for a new government to emerge, a key student leader said protesters wanted Nobel Peace Prize laureate Mohammed Yunus to head an interim government. Yunus, who is currently in Paris for the Olympics, called Hassan's resignation the country's second libertarian day and said he was ready to head an interim government. I am honoured by the trust of the protesters who wish for me to lead the interim government, he said in a written statement to AFP. If action is needed in Bangladesh for my country and for the courage of my people, then I will take it, he said, calling for free elections. Bangladesh's figurehead president and its top military commander said late on Monday that an interim government would be formed soon to preside over the new elections. So the Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina, 15 years in power, ended with the leader and her sister boarding a helicopter for India, as thousands of protesters defy military curfew orders to march on her resistance, which they later sacked along with the building associated with her party and family. Her departure comes after protests against a quota system for government jobs grew into a broader challenge to her 15-year rule, as scores were killed in clashes between protesters, security forces, and pro-government activists. So she was more. She was kind of pushed. She was when push came to shove, she was pushed out. 15 years in charge, and if there's enough people protesting, if there's enough pressure, you can force change. I'm going to get to why this isn't going to be the same case at the moment for Venezuela, sadly. So the military chief, Jen Walker Uzamzam, if I mispronounced that, I apologise, said earlier that he was taking temporary control of the country as soldiers tried to stem unrest. The military wields significant political influence in Bangladesh, which has faced more than 20 coups or 20 coup attempts since independence in 1971. Yeah, 20. That's a significant trouble when the military has quite a lot of power there. So that does worry me a little bit. Early on Tuesday, protest leader Silas Alam told reporters that they had asked the president to dissolve parliament by 3 p.m. and threatened to renew demonstrations otherwise as they seek to repair the state. We have proposed the name of Mohammed Yunus with his consent. Now, if someone else comes from among the MPs, we will not allow that to happen, he said. A long-time opponent of the ousted leader, Yunus was accused of corruption by her government and tried on changes that were said were motivated by vengeance. He received the Nobel in 2006 for his work pioneering micro-lending. Islam, the organizer, said, not that Islam, said protesters would propose more names for the cabinet and suggested it would be difficult for those in power to ignore the wishes. Amidst celebrations, student Yala Karim said it was a historic day, and today we're getting what we deserve, she said. Everyone is happy and everyone is cheerful. But the country is still counting the toll of weeks of violent unrest that produced some of the country's worst bloodshed since the 1971 War of Independence. Many fear that Hassana's departure could lead to even more instability in the dense populated South Asian nation, which is already dealing with crises from higher unemployment to corruption to climate change. Violence just before and after Hansard's resignation had left at least 109 people dead, including 14 police officers and hundreds of others injured, according to media reports, which could not be independently confirmed. Amidst security concerns, the main airport in Dhaka, the capital, suspended operations for 8 hours. And in the Midwest district of Sangya, 596 prisoners and detainees escaped from jail after an attack on the facility Monday evening. The United News of Bangladesh agency reported as police station security officials were attacked across the country. Police in Dhaka mostly left their stations and assembled in central barracks for fear of attack after several stations were torched or vandalized. The main opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party Tuesday urged people to exercise restraint in what it said was a transitional moment on our democratic path. It would defend the spirits of the revolution that toppled the legitimacy and autocratic regime of Sheikh Hasina if people decide to take the law into their own hands without due process, Taking Ranga, the party's acting chairman, wrote on social media platform X. And in a statement on Monday, the United Nations Human Rights Chief, Volker Turk, said the transition of power in Bangladesh must be in line with the country's international obligations and inclusive and open to meaningful participation of all Bangladeshis. Hasina landed at a military airfield in New Delhi on Monday after leaving Dhaka and met India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, the Indian Express newspaper reported. The report said Hasina was taken to a safe house and is likely to travel to the United Kingdom. The 76-year-old was elected for a fourth consecutive term in a January vote that was boycotted by her main opponents. Thousands of opponent members were jailed before the polls, and the US and the UK denounced the result as not credible, though the government defended it. Well, it didn't last long, did it? Yeah, people did not like that vote. It will be. My concern there is obviously the 20 coups that they have had in Bangladesh since their independence in 1976. That shows that the military have quite a bit of control in the country, which is definitely a cause for concern. That is for sure, guys. It is very, very worrying that this kind of does remind me a little bit. I know it's not the same thing, but it does remind me a little bit about Sudan, because before the war, before the conflict kicked off in Sudan, there was a very good high chance that there was finally going to be some democracy within Sudan, and then everything all turned shit when the two generals decided to take matters into their own hands. Now, I'm not saying that the Bangladeshi military can't take actions and take things into their own hands, because they can, and they know they can. But I don't think that's going to happen. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong on it. But we will have to wait and see, and time will tell. I will try and keep an eye on it as best as I possibly can. Now, as for Venezuela, guys, what I was saying. So what's the difference between this and Venezuela, guys? Why is Venezuela not going to have the same toppling? Well, the reason they're not is because many countries, such as Cuba and Russia, have sent mercenary soldiers, lots of mercenary soldiers, to the country Venezuela in order to quash any kind of mass protests that may defy them. We know that many police officers and even some military in Venezuela took off their clothes and defied basically serving Morado because they believe the election is fraud. Now, since then, I've not seen, and like I said, I haven't been keeping up today, obviously because of what happened this morning, but I haven't seen anything on an update on it in Venezuela. But as far as I'm aware, Morado is still the president. He still holds power. And when you have mercenaries and forces from Russia and Cuba coming into your country to help protect him and keep him in power, the chances of Venezuela having an overthrow of the government is incredibly unlikely, unfortunately. I think it was on Saturday where I saw footage online on X showing Cuban soldiers or mercenaries entering certain towns and cities in Venezuela. So the chances of something there happening is very, very unlikely, which means that the people of Venezuela are going to suffer even more as a result, unfortunately. So yeah, even if some of the military was to turn on Morado, and I say some, it doesn't appear to be. Maybe it's a very, very few have. When you have backers like Russia and Cuba willing to bring their own mercenaries and soldiers in to help to keep you in power, that says a lot, unfortunately. Which is annoying. It's annoying because it should be for the people to decide, and they're not being allowed to decide in this, guys. Hello, Phil McCracken. Good to see you too. Hope you're doing well. So before I go to the next article, guys, if you want to financially support me in the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. 99p may not sound like a lot of money, but it really does make a massive difference, and it really keeps the channel going. And I really appreciate anyone and everyone who does financially support me, whether it's super chats, memberships, or literally just liking, sharing, commenting. All that stuff really does help. But they go a long way, the financial support, guys. If you are a YouTube member, just a 99p member, you get access to custom emojis. I like these guys behind me. If I can, I can't show it because for some reason I've pushed my chair too far forward. So that means now I'm going to knock everything over. Now I've got to shuffle everything. And now I've just made things a hell of a lot worse. Turn back on, please. I've just ruined everything now. I've ruined the advertisement. There we go. Fix the advertisement. Yeah, so this gang behind me here, you get emoji. You can get emojis if you're a YouTube member. Pingu, Ollie, Cash Dummy, and the lava lamp and the orb as well. Some custom emojis of myself as well. There as well. So So any of that stuff really does make a massive difference. Also, if you're a YouTube member, guys, if you comment on any of my videos, I do respond to your videos. I haven't done it lately because of what happened this morning. I was going to clear all my messages, comments today, but obviously that didn't happen. For those who don't know why, check out the last community post. But if you're a $2.99 member, you get early access to content as well. Otherwise, you can financially support me by buying me a coffee. Link is in the description as well, or by joining me on Patreon. If for those who want to see the video, by the way, the video that I had to take down on YouTube, or that I chose to take down on YouTube, if you guys want to see that video on Tommy Robinson, you can check it out on Patreon. It is free to watch on there for those wondering. So thank you to everyone and anyone who has supported me in any way, shape, or form. It really appreciate it. Just going to go to Jal's comment there saying, just a note that the Cuban mercenaries in Venezuela are paid, not free. So if Morado holds the pay, they will turn on him. If that's the case, it doesn't matter. He has, when you are the president, he will throw the money at them. He will throw the money at them to stay in power. So if it means they're rolling up more debts, that's what he's going to do. So that doesn't surprise me at all. But obviously money does talk at the end of the day. And when you are president, you can literally throw anything at him. I'm sure he's made concessions with them as well on that as well. Right, so the next story I've got for you guys is from African News. This one here is from them. Nigeria's government is concerned over the increased Russian influence in the protests. Have I got this on the right one? Yeah. So we know that Russia are gaining influence in many African countries. We know, obviously, that especially on, I think it's in Malawi and Niger. If I said it right as well, that a lot of French was pushed out in some of those areas, and then there's more Russian forces that come into influence. But there has been influence that has been growing for quite a while in Russia inside Nigeria, and this is obviously very cause for concern for them. So let's read a bit more into this, you guys. So concerns are rising over the influence of Russia in the ongoing demonstrations in Nigeria. So some protesters have been seen wielding Russian flags as they demonstrate in various states in Nigeria. I have seen pictures of these. I definitely remember seeing a lot of pictures of these as well. Authorities in the country have termed the act treasonous to the country's sovereignty. The Russian embassy in Nigeria has distanced itself from allegations that it's influencing the demos. Protests against economic hardship have persisted in several Nigerian states, despite the president calling for an end to the demonstrations that have faced a crackdown from security forces. Now, at least 13 people have been reported dead in the protests, which began on Thursday, against the West African nation's worst cost of living crisis in a generation, and against the corruption and alleged bad governance that has stifled its development. Nigerian security forces have been accused of using excessive force in the protests. So they're not saying that I'm going to go on a limb and say they're probably not as far as killing them, maybe, the protesters, but it's definitely, it is coming close to that. So, yeah. Thanks for that comment, Genie, but I appreciate that. I have issues with e-banking, so the most I can do is buy a membership, just like I said, if you guys can't financially support me, best way to do it is hitting the like button, sharing across social media, leaving comments, watching the videos a bit longer than usual. Doing all that stuff supports me as well. So if you can't financially support me, those are the other ways you can support me, guys. So if you can't, don't worry. So it's all good. Oh no, yeah, that's fine. Oh, your comments are good, Genie Bottle. Yeah, they are. Bad jokes are good. Just ask any dad, says Phil. On Monday, President Bola Tinubu met with security chiefs in Abdulla's capital. A curfew was declared in northern Katsina state, the sixth state to take such measures since the protests began after reports of looting. The cost of living crisis is fueled by surging inflation at a 28-year high. Wow. And government economic policies have pushed local currency to record lows against the dollar. Tinubu on Sunday said his government was committed to addressing citizens' concerns, but he provided no plan, according to Lagos-based SBM intelligence research firm. A few protesters were seen waving Russian flags over the weekend and again on Monday in northern Nigeria, whose population is among the worst affected. The Russian embassy in Nigeria denied any responsibility, saying in a statement that the flags are personal choice of the protesters, do not reflect any official position or policy of the Russian government. So, I wonder what gave them the idea to carry Russian flags. Yeah, because obviously they just flying the flags of Russian flags just because because they want to. They could have flown any other flag. They could fly a different flag, but they just flying the Russian flag just because they can. Okay, sure. The Russian flags began being waved. Constant treason would be treated as such, Nigeria's military chief Christopher Muska said after a meeting with Tinubu. Pro-Russian sentiments have been growing in parts of West Africa, where Moscow is increasingly welcomed by militaries that have staged coups and severed ties with the West. One is in Nigeria's northern neighbour Niger, where French and American troops have been asked to leave, and Russia have been chosen as a new security partner. Yes. And yeah, that was quite a while. I think that wasn't too long ago, earlier this year as well. On Sunday, Tinubu had warned protesters not to let the enemies of democracy use you to promote an unconstitutional agenda. And in Nigeria, which currently holds the rotational chairmanship position of West Africa's regional bloc. Nigeria's Secret Service said it appreciated some tailors in northern Kango State. It said were responsible for making Russian flags being distributed in the area, and it said an investigation was ongoing. Oh, it said it apprehended, some tailors. So they were making the flags in some tailors in the northern state, but they're looking into it. That's all I really have on the story. Really, I don't really have much more to add to it apart from I do know that I have seen pictures and certain videos in the past in Africa, obviously, of having Russian flags and influence from Russia in there. But how much, obviously, of this is have to wait and see. But I would be concerned too if seeing that. But the possibility of a coup could potentially happen here if Russia push enough for it. There's been a lot of coups in Africa, too many. But you have to also remember that we never forget, guys, that the West must also be held responsible for what is happening on the continent of Africa. We left them all in this mess, and we should be doing more to help them out because we put a lot of these nations in these situations as well. It's important to remember our history. I think that's really, really important. Right, let me just see what you guys are quickly saying in the comments. I didn't notice any jokes, Dibby. Sorry, they were really, perhaps they were really bad. I did tell you, and you said you would forget me. Now I knock, and you say, "Who's there?" So she, okay. It's the ghost. It's number 3. Okay. Said LaPonton after knocking on the door and pooing on the rug. I said 2 genie bottles from jail. I'm playing knock-knock jokes now. Is that what you guys are doing? Oh, don't worry. I've got some bad memes coming anyway soon, guys. Right. Let's have a look at what's been happening in Ukraine, guys. We're going to look at the deep state map in a moment. But before we do, we'll look at some stories that have been happening from the Kiev Independent here, guys. To check them out, yeah, just type on the KievIndependent.com. They always have things going on there. The first one I got for you guys is Moscow claims clashes with Ukrainian troops on Russian soil. Kiev hasn't commented on this. This is quite a big claim. They're basically saying Ukrainian troops are on Russian soil here. Straight away, this is like, for me, this is basically saying, why would they, like, I don't see the benefit of them going on the Russian soil. Like, holding them on the border sounds more than enough, and they just want the territory. They want their own territory back. So I'm not there. It's entirely possible that 1 or 2 Ukrainians may have gone off the line potentially, but I don't know how much of this is real. But Russia do use a lot of misinformation and disinformation here. So it just says the story's been updated. So Russian Defense Ministry claimed that Ukrainian soldiers broke into the territory of Russia's Kursk region on August the 6th. Statement comes after Russian pro-war telegram channels wrote that a sabotage and a reconnaissance group with heavy equipment had entered the Kursk region in the morning. Kursk region lies on the border of Ukraine's Sumy Oblast, which has been experiencing daily Russian attacks since the liberation of its part in April 2022. So the Russian Defense Ministry claimed at around 5 p.m. local time that up to 300 soldiers of Ukraine's 22nd Separate Mechanized Brigade, equipped with tanks and armored vehicles, had allegedly attacked Russian units near the border settlement of Nikolaevsko-Danilo and Osirika in the Kursk region. According to the Russian ministry, the clashes are ongoing, and the reservists of the Russian group of troops are heading to the Kursk district direction. Ukraine's 22nd Separate Mechanized Unit has not commented on these claims, which cannot be independently verified. So this would have been a few hours ago at the time of this post, guys. So we don't know enough about this. So early in the day, Alex Symarov, the governor of Russia's Kursk Oblast, claimed that Russian border guards prevented a border breakthrough in the Sudetensky and Kolorovsky district. Avanki Kolovenko, the head of anti-disinformation department at the National Security and Defense Council, said that Russia doesn't control the border. Russian military commanders lie about controlling the situation in Kursk Oblast, he wrote on a Telegram post. In the meantime, multiple explosions were reported in the city of Sumy and the surrounding region on today, amid intensified Russian missile and glide bomb attacks on the region throughout the day. Russian troops attacked infrastructure near Sumy, the local authorities said. No casualties were reported. Separately, the Ukrainian authorities have said that forces in the area downed a Russian helicopter and 2 drones. And in March 3, anti-Kremlin Russian armed groups units launched incursions into Belgorod and Kursk Oblast from Ukraine, allegedly resulting in clashes with Russian forces in several settlements. The incursions were immediately followed by relentless Russian attacks in the regional capital of Sumy and the region. Andrei Yoskov, a spokesperson of Russia's military intelligence, confirmed to the Kiev Independent at that time that anti-Kremlin militia raid made Moscow change plans on possible new attacks in Ukraine's northern sector. We have seen in the past on the deep state map of attacks of them trying to attack from those Russian regions. We have seen that in the past. When asked by the Kiev Independent about Russia's claim today, the Freedom of Russia Legion, which was involved in 2 raids before, and the General Staff of Ukraine's Armed Forces refused to comment. Ukraine's military intelligence, HUR, and the Armed Forces of Ukraine refused to comment on the matter. So they haven't said anything on this at the time of this recording, but it is still, they've made the claim, Russia, and it hasn't been denied yet by Ukraine, which is kind of interesting. Missile attack in Kharkov kills 1, injures 12, including an infant, unfortunately, here. A Russian-made attack in Kharkov on today killed 1 person and injured 12 others, including an 8-month-old baby, President Volodymyr Zelensky has said. Russia struck the, I'm not going to say that name, guys, this city district with an Iskander missile at around 10 a.m., damaging a clinic, cars, and other civilian infrastructure, the governor Olis has said. 2 of the victims have been hospitalized, the governor said. More people are thought to be trapped under the rubble. As it says there, just to highlight, it is a developing story for those wondering. Attacks on population centers in Kharkov Oblast intensified after Russian forces launched a new cross-border offensive in the northern part of the region in May. While Ukrainian troops have halted the advance, Russia continues to hold a handful of border settlements there. So that's what's been happening there. An infant, obviously, that's really sad there. This other one here, Ukraine have launched more drones than Russia in July, Zelensky has claimed. I have a very hard time believing this, but this is tit for tat from Zelensky to whatever Russia is saying here. So Ukrainian forces launched more drones in July than Russian troops. President Volodymyr Zelensky has claimed this evening. Throughout Russia's full-scale invasion, Ukraine and Russia have heavily invested in drone technology. We know also that that they're obviously looking to build their own drones in Ukraine as well, the Ukrainian armed forces. And they have specializing in that and putting a lot of investment into it because, well, it's better than giving up. It's better than costing soldiers' lives, I think that's for sure. For outnumbering Ukrainian forces, drones have been one of the key weapons to Russian warship naval bases, oil refineries and airfields inside occupied territory and behind Russian lines. And in terms of this, Ukraine's defense and security forces are already gaining an advantage, and in July, our soldiers used more drones than the occupier, and there should be a steady trend on the front line for all types of drones that our units have, Zelensky said. According to the president, by becoming leader of the drone development, Kiev could be a security provider for other states. 1 million drones have been contacted for Ukrainian manufacture through 2024, he said. We do not disclose all the details now, but our capability to produce drones is consistently growing, and we are working not only with state funding but also with partners to invest in our drone production, Zelensky has said. Kiev has a production capacity to produce more than 3 million drones a year, but requires financing from foreign partners, Deputy Strategic Industries Minister Hanavar Holslis has said. And in the first half of 2024, Ukrainian soldiers received 6 times more drones than last year, Deputy Commander-in-Chief Armed Forces Vladimir had said back in July. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I've covered that already, that they said they were going to try and they were going to looking to produce more than 3 million drones a year. There is so quite a lot of, basically a drone war is what it's basically going to be here. Let me refresh the page to see here. There's another one. Oh God, what's going on? Nope. That's nope. Is that it? Yeah, because they do sometimes cover other things as well. In the Kiev Independent. Yeah, the other stuff is basically about Harris's pick. Estonia charges citizen who wrote for Russian state media with treason. What's this one? I'll read this one, then we'll go to deep state map. So Estonia's public prosecutor's office has charged Stavina Brasia, an Estonian citizen who wrote for the Russian state media with treason and violating international sanctions, the media outlet ERR reported today. Bursiva was arrested in March, and it was revealed that she wrote for the Russian state sponsor Bolt News, an arm of the Kremlin-run RT news outlet. Another RT subsidiary, Estonia, was shuttered for violating sanctions in 2019, but Varvisa is accused of continuing to write for the outlet and its affiliations under a pseudonym. The EU imposed sanctions against Russia today in March 2022, followed Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. According to the public prosecutor's office, Basilio, who became a nationalized Estonian citizen in 1994, knowingly violated sanctions. Between 2019 and 2021, she completed a master's degree at Senopol State University in occupied Crimea, where she reportedly enrolled in a program on information and hybrid conflicts, supervised and directed by a former FBI counterintelligence officer and head of private intelligence firm registered in Russia. Prosecutors said that the program aims to train international media workers and analysts to be at the forefront of combating hybrid Russian threats Russian faces. Upon completing her studies, Bafia reportedly wrote a book under a different name, along with the program director, entitled Hybrid War for the World, describing a global war that Russia must win. The book allegedly is intended to sow divisions in Estonia, prosecutors have said. A pre-trial investigation by Estonia's Internal Security Service, the ISS, concluded that Basilia could not be considered an independent, objective and neutral journalist. Yeah, we have a lot of people who we do not consider in the UK to be independent, objective, and neutral journalists. We should do something. We should have something like this here in the UK, shouldn't we? Russian state-sponsored media outlets have been instrumental in promoting pro-Russia propaganda since the start of the full-scale invasion. Estonia has long been considered concerned about undue influence from Russia, being on the eastern flank of NATO and having considerably ethnic Russian minority. In a widely reported case earlier in 2024, an ethnic Russian professor at Estonia's University of Tallinn was convicted of spying for his home country. Yeah, that's not good. But obviously, at the same time, it's very difficult for them, considering that they're right on the border. They're on the border with Russia, so they know the challenges. And obviously, like it says in there, there's going to be obviously links to Russia because of them being part of the Soviet Union. The history, of course, there. And they're just obviously trying to protect his citizens from disinformation and misinformation. And if this is what this person's been doing, then unfortunately they deserve to have the book thrown at them, as they say, because they don't want their citizens being misinformed, shall we say. I think that's a really important context there. Right, so it has been a while, guys, since we covered the deep state map. It's going to be interesting to have a looky since looking at it, but it has been a while, that is for sure, guys. So this is the deep state map. For those who want to have a look at it and see it for themselves, the link for it is in the description in the description if you want to check it out. But what is the deep state map? So the deep state map is a bit much. It's not a live update, but it updates every 2 or 3 times, a couple of times during the day, of what's happening within with regards to the war in Ukraine. So this is what obviously the latest. What's the latest time frame on this? Why have they changed this? Or is it only gone by day now? They've changed it to be only by day now. That's a shame. Okay, so let me just check. They only going by day. Yeah, they just go by. Oh, okay. So yesterday they had 2 updates, and they've only got 1 update today. Just having a quick nose. Okay, so we're going to go by for 1st of August, then we'll have a look here. So this is a report, obviously, one of the reports, obviously, about. I'm assuming they're saying that there's attacks that Ukrainian forces apparently are coming somewhere along here in the Russian region. I don't know much about that, but you can see here they have made some ground, Russia here, from Belrock into Ukraine from here. So we know about that as well. Obviously, for those who don't know, the green patch is basically. Oh my God, why is it going so? This map can be very annoying sometimes. For those who don't know, the highlighting in green is obviously this is when Ukraine launched its counteroffensive, not last year, year before, and took back a lot of its territory. And Russia have obviously been pushing back since then. As you can see, they're obviously making engagements along here. Let's just have a quick look to see if there's been any changes here. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 4th, 5th. So this is from that's yesterday. So there hasn't been, looks like there hasn't been too much movement here, along here on the north. I think from every time we've always seen the deep state map, there's not been too much movement there. Obviously, let's have a look to see here. Like I said, this is on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 4th again, 5th. So there has been a slight movement. Let me see, outside Bakhmut there. Yeah, I remember obviously covering Chasiv a few times. There's been engagements here. Obviously, they're looking to push into Chasiv here and take this town. It looks like they've got, according to this, it looks like they've just on the curve of the road there, according to this here, there. But we also saw a bit further down. But yeah, this is obviously you can see there. Obviously, if they push for Chasiv, it then engulfs this area here, which means that they may have to push back there, fall back there, their positions. Tonskistani here, obviously some territory obviously been pushed here. Let's see, has there been much change here? There looks like there has been. If I go back a couple of days, this is from the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 4th again. And then this was the latest update here. So they have pushed a little bit more here. And we'll just pull back out again. So as I've said many times whenever we covered deep state map, guys, this is the area where the most territory has been gained in Russia ever since the fall of Avika there, the town there. They have literally just been pushing out ever since. Now this is the latest update, but if I pull this back, you'll see this was yesterday, day before again, day before again, and you can see just as I keep going back, you can see this is where Russia have been making the most gains. This is where Russia have been making the most push. This is all the way back to the 23rd of the 7th of July here. So you can see right here that they have pushed here. Now it may not seem like a lot, but it is still territory that they have been gaining here. So they're still making gains in these areas here. Ukraine just can't seem to hold the lines in these areas here. This is the biggest problem for them here. Have Russia made any gains down in these areas here? Just having a look. Does not appear that there's been much to little gain here. So it looks like that Ukraine have held the line quite firmly here, according to the deep state. Let's see, have they made any kind of ground on here up to the Dynamo River? I'm just checking, going back a couple of days. For Olovsk, Zelarica, Halapul. Yeah, Ukraine have held this pretty firm. This has not been much moving here. Not much movement here in the south. And then I don't really need to... We can have a look here, but there's not going to be much change here. So this is the Dynamo River that goes all the way out to the Black Sea here. And Kurshkin, obviously here. The river that separates Russia and Ukraine here. Like a lot of missile strikes, obviously, from Russia into Kurshkin from that side there. So, and you can see, obviously, it's not too far from Crimea itself here. So, yeah, this obviously the Dynamo River definitely helps all along there. And not too much ground here, but like I said, the main push obviously has been here, obviously in Kurshkin, Avika, obviously where most of the ground has been gained here. So obviously, and Vladimir Putin has obviously stated and what he wants. And I'll scroll back out, yeah, to tell you, because for the reminder of people, for those who don't know how much land he wants to get. Basically, I'll pull it back a little bit further. So this is the whole. So basically, he wants the whole of Donetsk region captured. So pretty much. So if you can see, I don't know if you can see it here, where if you can see the letters where it says DO there. So this there's Lushkis, and then there's Dynamo region, there's Kharkov region there. But Donetsk, I'll just scroll in a little bit more. They pretty much, I wish I'd had my cursor up, but they pretty much want to gain the whole of Donetsk before the end of the year. They've got less than 4 months, Russia, to do that. That's basically what they want. I can see I can see potentially Russia doing it. I can see Russia potentially doing it. So if you can see right in front of my camera here, where this dotted line is, this is the region of, this is the edge of the region of Donetsk. If you follow that dotted line, pretty much. This is what Vladimir Putin wants to gain at least by the end of the year. Whether he will or not, obviously remains to be seen. But obviously, apart from that, not too much change in terms of on the battleground itself. But there is obviously lots of drone attacks, lots of missile attacks going back and forth. And obviously the other story as well has been that the arrival of the F-16s that have started coming into play. I don't think it's a game changer, but for me, if it just helps protect the skies, protects stopping airstrikes, if it helps protects Ukrainian civilians, all the more good. But it'll take some time for the F-16s to get in. Is it going to make a massive difference? No, I don't think it's going to make too much of a big difference. But we'll obviously have to wait and see how things go from there, guys. But that's what we have on the war in Ukraine for you guys. Just going to have a quick look in the chat before we go to the funny memes. History was grim and horrible now. The president is looking like no lessons learnt from the past. So sad. This is why I'm wacky and spreading good vibes. Peace and love and laughter all needed now. Yeah, I definitely need some of that. That's for sure. Flatlands, they know, but in my opinion, it will not work. They are losing 500 soldiers every day. 1,000, some say. I'm assuming you're talking about Russian soldiers there. I have mulled over every map, and I just get baffled. However, I accept any theory. Yeah, what I do know, Stephen Banker, from the best of it, is that Donetsk region is what Putin wants to get by the end of the year. That's the territory that they want to get. Whether they will or not is another thing, but that's what I've heard. David, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Running out of books to throw, just keep getting burnt, says Genie Bottle. That's a good one. That's a good one. So guys, before we wrap things up, because I've got dinner waiting for me, and I know Max's live stream is coming very soon. Hopefully there'll be no problems with it. But before you guys go, the funny memes. You don't think I forgot about the funny memes, did you? No, I've got 5 for you guys here. I hope you guys enjoy them. Have a little bit of a laugh with these ones. So, let me drink my drink, and then we'll do that. So I hope you guys enjoy these funny memes. We do these every Snowflake corner, apart from one I missed. But I hope you enjoy these ones. So you're telling me none of the skateboarders tested positive for weed at the Olympics? When dinner is at 6 o'clock, and it's 6:01. Where's the food? 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 Started seeing someone. As in dating or hallucinations? A therapist, actually. When you realise weekends aren't rest days anymore. And finally, when you're hungry and someone's trying to be funny. How dare you try to be funny while I'm hungry? I'm literally starving as we speak, guys, because I haven't even eaten. So definitely. Dogs can just pull off some of the funniest of faces, can't they, you guys? Hope you found these ones. Funny. Muted? No, it wasn't muted. Number 3. Don't talk so silly. You don't want me to do it all again. So, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. Those funny memes, and I hope you guys found the Snowflake Corner today interesting, informative, and useful. Hope you guys let me know what you guys think of Tim Walz. We covered him quite extensively today on the Snowflake Corner. The ongoing situation in Gaza, what's happening in Bangladesh, Nigerian government concerned about Russian influence, and the current update that's been happening in the war in Ukraine and what you've been seeing on Deep State Map. Let me know your thoughts and more on all this down in the comments section below. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's been here live. Thank you guys for all your comments. I will be back tomorrow with the Snowflake Watch. I know you guys are looking forward to that. That was going to be probably a lot more swearing and ranting and whatnot. So I know you guys like that. So don't be surprised if we have some of that. But just before I head out, guys, just a reminder: if you are someone in areas where there may be potentially riots or things that may be going on where you are, please stay safe. Please be careful. Take any precautions you need necessary. Please don't go out unless you are with people. Just don't put yourself in harm's way. Do not get in the police's way. Just be safe is the most important thing, guys. Just please be safe. So, just before I head out, guys, I will show you the gang behind me. If I can do it without knocking anything over. Are you guys all right? You guys good? You guys happy? Yep, they're happy. Okay, cool. Yeah, they got nothing really to add tonight, guys. But for you, I just have one final question I have for you guys. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this live stream. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. Or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.